FromSoftware does dialogue right. From the trailers,
the all-knowing,
to the heroes,
curse you, Bayle,
to the villains,
Men are props in stage of life.
and all the way to the random NPCs.
Marika's tits. You must be hungry.
There are so many characters in these games that just sound so cool, and I'm gonna try my best to explain why. Let's start with the most important character in any of these games, you. Aside from some small voice effects like attacking or dying, which you will hear very often,
My fucking god.
you never hear your character say much of anything. In over 7 games, the only time you ever hear your character speak is in Sekiro,
噛むとはもうございます。
噛む?
and he barely says anything. Dialogue is sparse in these games. Players will often go hours without hearing a character say something new or meaningful. Veterans know that every one of these words has weight and impact. You will pretty much never hear a character give you meaningless expositional dialogue in these games. NPCs feel like they're really a part of the world, and they act like you are also a part of the world. This helps the dialogue skip over unnecessary detail. It adds a sense of realism to the dialogue as well. You and the NPCs already have some shared knowledge about the world, kinda like the two of you are both in on some secret. But when you first play these games, you don't know the secret. That makes the player listen much more closely when there is new dialogue. Since much of the story is told through item descriptions, players need to pay attention and process the dialogue to tie it into the greater story being told. But the dialogue isn't enough to piece together the story. It ends up adding a layer of mystery and intrigue to the dialogue. 3 games later, and I still don't know what the Dark Soul is. It makes the characters feel much more layered, much more cool. That being said, even though it sounds cool, the dialogue is often cryptic or just outright confusing.
This place is already dead. Everything will crumble and waste away so that something new may be born.
They'll hint at things that are really epic, but super obscure. The grand lake of mud hidden from sight. New ideas of a higher plane. The kindling of the first flame. Going into a little more detail about the delivery, the word choice often fits the setting. The word choice actually sounds like words the characters would say, given that they were actually in a world like that. Fantasy words like writ, lest, wouldst. They stick out to your ears because you probably don't hear them every day. On top of that, the sentence structure is also interesting. Here's a sentence from the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC that I thought sounded cool.
Mother, wouldst thou truly lordship sanction in one so bereft of light?
There is so much packed into this single line that is less than 8 seconds long. The statement is impactful. It tells us that Mesmer values his mother's opinion a lot, as he should. It tells us that Mesmer looks down on us. It tells us that Mesmer admires the grace of gold. It's phrased as a question, but there is no mother to answer. It talks about light, a reoccurring theme in the story. And it's told in a cutscene by a guy with an extremely cool character design. And that brings me to my final point, the emotional context and delivery. This next voice line is one of my favorites in the entire Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, and it's also the reason I'm making this video.
curse you, Bayle. I hereby vow you will rue this day.
Igon is a character you meet only in the DLC. You see him limping with injured legs, writhing in pain, but still yelling with hatred.
There is life in me yet. I will soon feast upon your heart.
He finds you after you defeat a pair of drakes, and compliments you on being a true drake warrior. Then he invites you into battle against Bayle the Dread, a fearsome dragon, and he yells angrily at Bayle.
You might be foul, and I will riddle with holes your rotten hide.
Then he pretty much just dies. That's the entire story. It's so little, but it's just so cool. The delivery from voice actor Richard Lintern is so powerful. You can hear the hate, the pain, and even the fear in his voice.
Bayle the Dread! You shall haunt me no longer!
The voice speaks for itself, and the context of the dialogue, which is Igon's story, helps a lot too. It's a short and simple story. A guy who is heavily injured in battle really hates this one specific drake. He climbs an entire dragon-infested mountain purely powered by hatred. He is the #1 Drake hater of the year. And I mean more than Kendrick Lamar. And that simple but elegant recipe, Drake hater yells at Drake, makes it so deliciously good. I linked in the description an interview between IGN and Richard Lintern. Apparently, he didn't even know Bayle was a dragon when he was recording the voice lines, which makes it all the more impressive that he was able to deliver his voice lines so well. I really love the dialogue in these games. I almost wish they brought back archaic English dialogue in real life. I hope other games can start taking a page out of the FromSoftware book. Every dialogue line matters when you're building your world. By cutting out just a little bit of expositional dialogue and focusing on showing rather than telling, anyone can make their game dialogue better. What was your favorite piece of dialogue in a FromSoft game? Are there any other games with great dialogue that you like? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next one.